Pat Eaton-Rob with the Associated Press. Tamia, can you discuss the defensive mindset of this team? You've now held, I think it's 14 teams, 10 points under their scoring average for the year, and the job you guys did on Hidalgo. What was the plan there?
Yeah, I think having last year happen and us not exceeding expectations of what we thought we could do with the core group, Talia, AJ, and then us 5 now sophomores, we kind of knew in order for us to get where we wanted to go, we needed to key in on defense. And so all of us over the spring, over the summer, and into this year came in with the mindset of understanding what we needed to accomplish defensively in order to win those close games. And so this year, that core group, we know what it takes now, and so we know what it takes to win, and we're obviously doing it, so it's super fun.
Hi, Azar Johnson from Envy Sports. For Gardner specifically, this is like a big game. You know, clearly you guys felt that you could win this game, everybody in the locker room, but outside, just speaking from the East Coast perspective, we don't get to see Oregon State all the time. So everybody is now going to be seeing Oregon State at this point, because that wasn't just a normal 16 team. That was Notre Dame and the Lively that you defeated. How big is this for you guys? How big, on a scale of 1 to 10, how big is this a win for you guys?
Oh, it's huge. You know, we've always believed in ourselves and what we could do, and a lot of people didn't know what we could do. And so we kind of came in, we had nothing to lose. So we come in, we play our game, we play Oregon State basketball, and we demonstrated that tonight, and we're not done yet.
No? Okay, over here.
Drew Wemple from Troy Record in Saratoga, and talked yesterday about, you know, the trip for you guys as players you had to make across the country, but what did you think of how the fans were able to make that trip too and bring the energy with them? How big of a part did that play for you guys today?
Our fans are phenomenal. Beaver Nation is absolutely incredible. We do usually have a good traveling fan base, and we saw a lot of them here tonight. But just having them, obviously our amazing band and cheer come along that do a phenomenal job, just helps us so much and just gives us that extra burst of energy when we hit a shot. That extra cheering in that section is just amazing. And so we're thankful for each of them who made it out.
Yes. To piggyback off the last question, even though a lot of people maybe on the East Coast don't understand, you guys are in the Pac-12. So you're facing Juju and USC, you're facing UCLA, you're facing, there's another, missing one more person here.
Stanford.
So clearly the level of competition you're used to. How much does that help you when you have to go into a conference tournament and then you got to come into the big dance? And when you play a team like Notre Dame, how much does that experience help you playing those teams?
Do you want that for both student athletes?
Yes, please.
Okay, start with Reagan. Thank you.
I would just say it helps tremendously. Obviously, you name the schools that we have to play night in and night out in the Pac-12. Some really amazing post presence and some phenomenal guards, as you mentioned, Juju being one of them. And so that just prepared us so well to come and compete with teams like Notre Dame tonight, who is another phenomenal team who has some phenomenal guards in that link down there. And so Pac-12 is a great conference. It's a powerful conference. We still have 5 of us here, I believe, in the Sweet 16, though, so that just goes to show what we have to play against every weekend over there. And so we're happy for the other teams that are here to support the Pac-12, but we're prepared for this and we're excited.
Every night in the Pac-12 is a dogfight, and it's so strategic too. I mean, every team is scouted to the T, and you have to be able to counter the counters in order to be successful and to win games. And so playing so many different looks and different teams, different playing styles too, it's prepared us for pretty much anything that is thrown our way. And so I personally believe Pac-12 is the toughest conference in the country, top to bottom, and it's definitely prepared us for what's to come.
Last one.
Billy Witz with the New York Times for Reagan and Tamia. You know, at the start of the school year, basically the Pac-12 kind of broke apart. Oregon State won't have, you know, a conference home next year. How much of that is just maybe sort of the subtext of this season for you guys?
That has been on our minds. Obviously, we knew about the Pac-12 disbanding at the beginning of the season, but one of those important things that we have focused on is staying present in the moment. And right now we're in the middle of the big dance, and we can't wait to play on Sunday.
Yeah, touche.
Thank you to our student athletes. And again,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you. Go Beavs. Go Beavs.
Well done.
It's kind of tight.
Get out okay?
Don't worry about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we'll take questions for Coach. We'll start right here in the front, second row.
Scott Howard, Magdal the next. Good to see
Howard.
you. Congrats on the win. Maybe this is are you a glass half full or half empty guy question, so I think I know the answer, but are you more focused on shooting 60% from the field and out-rebounding them 42-24, or the 26-5 turnover difference?
The final score, honestly, and that's the thing, we are relatively young. I mean, throughout our roster. And so this year has been managing, things that are new. And for a teacher and a coach, that's been the joy of this entire journey for me is, we've got all this talent. We've got incredible camaraderie and chemistry with this group from day one. That was evident. Can we prepare them in a way to manage whatever's coming on whatever stage might come, and this team doesn't play young in many ways, but you got to give Notre Dame a ton of credit for disrupting. We did look young at times, of course, today, but the way this team's bought into the other end of the floor, like Tamia was mentioning, the defense has carried us on those nights. And then the offensive execution, when we do take care of the basketball, I mean, we shot 60%, like you said, and 40, I think, from three or something like that. Those numbers are crazy, against a team as good as Notre Dame. So we clearly, that's been a point of emphasis all year, and it's one of those things that's just continuing to be a challenge in some ways, and certainly it's going to be tested as we go forward.
Right here, and then we go back.
Pat Edenrob from the AP. Scott, can you talk a little bit about what the defensive plan was against Hidalgo and how you executed that? And then on the offensive end, I assume you wanted to take advantage of your size and get down low, which is what you did early.
For sure, and I mean, you're right on it. I think Hidalgo, she's their floor leader. She's got the ball in her hands more than anybody else. But man, you blink, we're getting hurt other places, and so we've done a really good job this year with being disciplined in position defense, and so the goal is make them miss. That's why we don't have a lot of steals. It took 39 minutes for us to get one, I was told, and today. And so, but we made them miss a ton of shots and shoot below their average and score below their average because of it. So, in a way, we don't pressure, but in a way we do. Because we're making you do something all game long you don't really want to do. And that made them look as uncomfortable as they did. It made them kind of look around in the fourth quarter, like, where do we go? Do I shoot this? But I'm actually shooting out of the hand I don't want to shoot out of. And, so there's little things like that. And I hear all the time, you guys got lucky because they missed shots. And I would tell you, well, they're shooting the shots we want them to shoot and the ones they don't normally shoot. And so I would say, yeah, maybe that's lucky, but I know they're really uncomfortable shooting that. I played. I know, I know which way I want to go, and I know which way I kind of don't. And so, this team has bought into that. But I got to give our conference a ton of credit for that. I mean, that is how it is every night in our league. That's what Tamia was mentioning. On the other end of the floor, when you've got a force like Ray, somebody not only with the strength and size that she has, but the agility and the hands that she has, you're playing through that person. And so there was a point where I thought we missed her too often early. We're like, just give her the ball, like play through Ray, but give them credit for making that difficult, And then fortunately, we have lots of other things we can go to. Lily hit huge threes. Tamia was unbelievable. Just did what she does. Dono hit a couple huge shots, and Talia playmade for us throughout the game. And so, we're not just the ratio for sure, but that is our probably our highest percentage option.
Go ahead.
Marvin Chambers for Put On Sports Media Entertainment. Coach, when they bottled up Bears, which wasn't often in Tamia, you guys had still a nice offensive flow on the perimeter. Can you just talk about the offensive flow and the offensive continuity throughout the game?
Yeah, well, I wish it would have been a little cleaner. I mean, I would have loved that, but Hidalgo's all over you. I mean, and so as I was in the fourth quarter, I was just thinking to myself, I wish I could help Donna a little bit more. Let's get the ball out of her hands a little bit more, and then Hannah would jump over to whoever brought it up and hound them, and so it wasn't easy, but great teams don't make it easy. You have to really work. Every dribble was challenged, and so the ball didn't move quite as well or as easily as I would have liked, and I don't know, that's why the game was the way it was, I guess, and the turnovers were the way they were. And so this team, though, does pass very well. Last week against Nebraska, we had 21 assists on 22 field goals. And so the ball does move with us, and so that is who we are, and so it's not just one person. That's not how we play. It's everybody, and it's spacing the floor and using the entire court to our advantage when we're playing like we want to.
Go, and then.
Andrea Adelson with ESPN. As a follow-up to the Hidalgo question, do you know what happened with the nose ring? Because obviously where we were sitting, we couldn't really tell what was happening with that. And do you think her being out of the game as long as she was, combined with the way you played her defensively, maybe took her out of her game?
That's the first I'd heard about the nose ring. I was not aware of that, and so I didn't know any of those things until now. I would say, I thought we did a pretty good job defensively. I was really pleased. I mean, to make her go 4 of 17. I mean, those are the types of numbers that this team has forced our opponents into all season long. And so that was, in a way, par for the course, and it's certainly not to take away from her. I just think our length and our discipline to stay in front of her was disruptive, just like it was last week for Jazz, Shelley, and it has been Juju went 6 of 32 in Gill Coliseum against us this year, for the exact same reason. And so she's a great player, and it took everything we had, to slow her down like that.
Erica Ayala with CBS Sports. Coach, can you talk to us a little bit about the 10-second violations, especially late in the game, and what conversations you were having with the team to be able to stay the course given that situation? Yeah,
I thought my role at that time was not to be emotional, for sure, not to pile on. Those were obviously unique. Do we have 3? It felt like, I know 2 for sure. So my comment was get it across. Like, let's go, and they changed their press a couple times, and that's maybe some of the youth I was mentioning, and so are we running this or press break or this press break? And I think that indecisiveness caused us just to pause just a second too long, and then their pressure's for real, and they really did a great job of disrupting us, and when we crossed over, they were standing there waiting for us on that side. It just was tough, and so that's something that we learned from, though. If we can still be learning this time of the year, and this team is, we just, find something to improve upon from one game to the next, and that's certainly something we'll talk about after tonight or tomorrow. Thank you.
Nicole Auerbach, The Athletic. Scott, when you talked about you're not a one-player show, but what does Reagan do that kind of sets the tone or gets the team going or exemplifies what you guys want to do? Well,
she causes trouble at the rim, and she, compromises defensive integrity, is what I would say. It's really hard to defend her one-on-one, and so when the ball goes inside, people typically have to help, or something good happens for us typically. She shoots 60-some%, and so Ray not only is a great scorer down low, she's a great screener. And the pace of our offense really moves when she's out there. She's so quick. She pivots so well, maintains balance, and then catches everything you throw at her. So because of that, she's a constant threat that I think teams really have to focus on from a global perspective. It's not just, hey, you've got her, take her out. It's like, okay, how are we going to stop this kid? And we're going to have to give her different looks. We're going to have to front, and maybe that hurts rebounding. We're going to have to send 2, which gives up a 3. And then for us, it's the challenge of moving it around and adapting as other teams adapt to us. And so if I were playing against her, it would give me a headache.
Okay, Coach, we're out of time. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, everybody.
Best of luck as you continue.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Oh, it is, okay. Okay. Sure.